So stay with us. But first, those plans which could see the high-speed rail link to the northwest built 7 years faster than the original scheme.
The new chairman of the HS2 project, Sir David Higgins, announced to an audience in Manchester today that he thinks the rail link from London could be up and running by 2027 and can be delivered for less than the £50 billion price tag.
Now, sceptics say the costs are bound to rise, while some campaigners think the line shouldn't be built at all. Our correspondent Mel Barham now reports.
It may have been a quiet protest in Manchester this morning, but it was still pretty clear what those against HS2 made of the plans.
High Speed 2.
Inside, the new man in charge of high-speed rail was unveiling his vision for the project. Tasked with trying to cut some of the costs, his answer to speed the whole process up. HS2 is set to cost £50 billion. Phase 1 between London and Birmingham is due to be completed by 2026. Sir David Higgins is recommending creating a new hub at Crewe with a brand new station and bringing that phase forward by 6 years. He also wants to bring forward to 2030 the lines to Manchester and Leeds. But also addressed today was the issue of connectivity across the north. Journey times from east to west, Leeds to Liverpool are painfully slow. So David Higgins today pointing out that needed to be improved too if high-speed rail was to work.
Money needs to be spent on that Trans-Pennine route. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But our system is always London-centric. So this starts to address that with a spine from which then you can build others. East-west, of course, we should have an ambitious plan for connecting from Manchester to Leeds.
The scheme's already got the backing of the City Council here in Manchester.
What high-speed rail will bring for Manchester is the ability for the next 40, 50, 60 years to be able to continue to grow our economy, to continue to create jobs, to continue to thrive.
But there's an environmental and human cost to the scheme that people like Alexis and his mother Thelma know only too well. HS2's due to run straight through their property in Northwich, a house they've lived in for more than 40 years and has been specially adapted to cater for Alexis's needs.
We've got to really start again and think things through and move in and everything, which is a big upheaval after all those years.
As today's revised plans were unveiled, there were almost as many microphones as there were questions.
Today has been all about throwing down the gauntlet to politicians to try and get HS2 built quicker and therefore they say cheaper. But the plans remain highly divisive, fiercely championed by some, but for those against, they're still not convinced it will bring them any meaningful benefits.
We're against HS2 because we live in the north, and HS2 is a railway line that's going to go to London. What that will do will be to take all the talent and all the people and all the money down to London.
We need to concentrate on our regions. Travelling in from the suburbs of Manchester will take longer than getting from Manchester to London. That's ridiculous.
Of course, the brakes are still on HS2 until Parliament gives the green light. Only when that political uncertainty is lifted can those plans get speeded up. Mel Barham, ITV News, Manchester.
Well, a short time ago, I spoke to Joe Rukin of the campaign group Stop HS2. They were protesting outside Manchester Town Hall. I started by asking him why he wasn't happy with a new option that would be cheaper.
Well, for a start, they're not going to spend £50 billion. Today, Sir David Higgins has pulled a contract saying that, well, if we build it faster, we can build it cheaper because you remove inflation. But actually, that only works if you included inflation in your prices in the first place. And the £50 billion is on 2011 costs, so they're 3 years out of date already. Those costs today on 2014 prices would be £64 billion. But there's no better example of showing that high-speed rail does not deliver on economic growth and prosperity and regeneration than yesterday's decision to build a dormitory town for London at Ebbsfleet. Ebbsfleet got a station under HS1 7 years ago. They were sold exactly the same promises that Manchester and Leeds and Crewe and Sheffield and Birmingham are getting sold now, that it will bring jobs, it will bring growth, it will bring economic prosperity. It's brought nothing except a chance for more people to commute to London, and that's what high-speed rail projects have done across the world. They drag more economic activity to the capital.
But other major powers across Europe have high-speed rail networks. Isn't this something that we lag behind in?
No, we've had high-speed rail in this country since the 1970s. It's called the West Coast Main Line, the East Coast Main Line.
But how much experience do you have of the northern leg of the journey, which is the one that we're talking about?
Well, I used to work for the National Union of Students, used to travel all around the country on the trains, and what I found is that the links from east to west, especially, trying to cross the Pennines, just trying to get, say, from Sheffield to Manchester by train is a joke.
But would you fancy that as a commute?
That's where you need the investment.
We're talking about people having to do this as a commute, and it's not a very pleasant experience for many of them.
No, absolutely, and that's what we've been saying right since the start. The majority of rail users are short distance commuters going to work, and it's in those transport networks that the investment is needed. And HS2 is this massive white elephant, a point-to-point intercity service for the business elite. It's like building the Titanic, but without steerage. Steerage will be the rest of the rail network, where everyone else will continue to face crush hour conditions, because all the money will go on HS2.
Joe Rukin, there we have to leave it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.